afternoon, everyone. On our time, it's just on 8 minutes to 2, and we're scheduled to begin the program at 2, but we will wait a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, and at the very end, Mbula Vinaka, and a very warm welcome to this ONOC SPC Micro Qualifications Awards program. We opened our live stream broadcast there with the Olympic anthem. It's the Oceania's rendition of the Olympic anthem performed by Rako Pacifica. The images there celebrating the athletes of Oceania, the warriors of Oceania. In my role and as part of my duty here as your Master of Ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to officially welcome Mrs. Maria Fuata, who's Officer in Charge and Deputy Director General of the Pacific Community, Mrs. Makarita Lenore, President of FASANOC, Ms. Vanessa Kilner, Secretary General and CEO of FASANOC, Mr. Vidya Lakan, President of the Pacific Games Council, Mr. Peter Mazie of the Fiji National Sports Commission, management and staff of the SPC's Educational Quality and Assessment Program, ECAP, developers of our OSEP micro qualifications. We also have in the room OSEP trainers, our OSEP stakeholders, representatives of tertiary institution. I see Mr. Dawanimbuka here. Our invited guests, members of the media, our live stream viewers, and of course, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to ONOC House here in Suva on behalf of our President, Dr. Robin Mitchell, our Vice President, Ms. Baklai Temeniel, who's also the Secretary General of the Palau National Olympic Committee, our ONOC Secretary General, Mr. Ricardo Blas, who's joining us as well from Guam. He's also President of the Guam National Olympic Committee, the Executive Board of ONOC, and the management and staff of ONOC. Again, a very good afternoon and welcome to this ONOC SPC Micro Qualifications Awards program. And again, I welcome you, our viewers, who are joining us through our YouTube live stream. For our guests here at ONOC House, you would have received the copy of today's program, but in the interest of our live stream viewers, we have a short formality this afternoon. Very shortly, I'll invite forward the head of our education program, Varanisese Karisitiana, who will give you an overview of the project and the awards that we are receiving today. And then we have two remarks, one on behalf of ONOC by Dr. Robin Mitchell, and the second remark will be from our partner, the Pacific Community, and that will be delivered by Mrs. Maria Fuata, who's SPC officer in charge and also the Deputy Director General. Following the remarks, we will then have the presentation of the awards. We thought it'd be proper to have reflections from one of our trainers, and who better to do that than Senimili Sokuru. So she will come forward, as you see in the program, and offer some reflections and responses to the awards that we are receiving this afternoon. Then we close off with a vote of thanks, and we'll wrap up and close. For members of the media who are here, there's an opportunity as well for you to do one-on-ones should you wish. So that's the order of our events this afternoon. Again, thank you for your patience. As you see in the program, I would very shortly invite Varanisese Karisitiana, who will come forward and provide the overview of the project and the awards. But by way of introduction, Vara has been with ONOC for over 11 years. She celebrated 10 years with ONOC last year. She came to ONOC after teaching. She was in the teaching, or a teacher for about 15 years. But interestingly as well, she's also a national representative for Fiji. So she was an athlete for volleyball for about 5 years, and she continues to be a coach. This is her 13th year as a coach. She in fact coached the women's volleyball team to the Pacific Games in the Solomon Islands. And then through transitions of roles, she assumed the role from Meli Dhavu, who was head of OSEP, and now she's taken over the role, and she assumed the role in October 2023, last year. So with those words of introduction, I'm delighted to invite Varanisese forward to give us the overview and also some background on the awards. Can we please make her welcome?
Mbula Vinaka. So good to see familiar faces in the room. Bula Vidya and Mr. Mazie, Mr. Dhawanimbuka. I'm thankful that Mr. Dhawanimbuka is here as a former athlete, volleyball representative. Mr. Dhawanimbuka was one of the crucial, influential figures in volleyball during my time as an athlete. and also going through University of the South Pacific. He was principal at a senior residential college. On that note, I'd like to welcome everybody. I feel honored to stand before you today to give you a brief overview on the OSEP program. I'm sure a lot of you here are familiar with the OSEP program. You've heard of it being mentioned in the NOC, the Olympic circles, but for those of you who here for the first time and hearing this for the first time, very briefly, OSEP, it's an innovative Pacific-led sport education program. And I'll reiterate that, it's a Pacific-led sport education program that has transformed and complemented capacity and capability development within the sports sector in the region. Very briefly, I will give you a short overview of what we've been doing with this particular work, the Sport Qualification Project in OSEP. Right now in OSEP, we have about 7 projects happening simultaneously. And those 7 projects, Project 1 is on sport qualifications. So the work, the awards we are celebrating today, it's really on the Project 1 work that we're doing in the program. This is the strategy that OSEP has been working on for the last 4 years, since 2021. You may be wondering how the strategy came about. This strategy came about as out of the 51 recommendations that was provided to us after Dr. Peter Davis did an external evaluation. So ONOC has its own organizational strategic plan. What we have is OSEP as the flagship program. We also have our strat plan, which is called the OSEP strategy. Now, this strategy is based on the evaluation that was run by Peter Davis and his consortium of consultants. There were 51 recommendations, and in the 51 recommendations, a few of it was pointing towards the development of sport qualifications, sport education qualifications. After the recommendation was put forward by Peter Davis, the program at that time was led by Sainimili Sokuru. The team also then developed the strategy around the recommendations. So what you see here on the screen, this is a summary of the dream that we have in OSEP, as well as the 3 strategic areas that we are focusing on, our values, and why do we exist. Sorry. Thank you. The OSEP goals. A lot of you may be wondering, why did OSEP switch to micro-qualifications when we had our suite of courses that were delivered within the Olympic movement to our NOCs? Mind you, when we were delivering OSEP courses, there were 14 courses sitting on the OSEP pathway that were being delivered to our National Olympic Committee members. We decided, through the recommendations from Peter Davis and his team, that we would go with developing sport qualifications. We needed to stay current with what we were offering our membership, not only within the Olympic movement, but also we needed to get our courses recognized outside the Olympic movement. That's when the discussions around sport qualifications started with SPC, particularly Sainimili and Rajen, who are both in this room today. The goal, why micro qualifications or why sport qualifications? In summary, the qualifications is a reflection of future proofing and delivery of regional goods. future-proofing in the sense that we wanted to develop something that could be used in our future education context. Not just have a suite of courses delivered internally, we had to make sure that the micro-qualifications we were developing was aligned to what the needs were in the sport industry. We were trying to meet the industry needs as well. And the other is the delivery of regional goods. We realized that sport in the region is our regional good. So we had to develop our resources, educational resources, around making sure that the goods we developed within the program had that regional flavor and was unique to us in the region. Sorry. Now, when we were developing the micro-qualifications, we had to ask ourselves, when we talked about future-proofing, what exactly were we trying to do with the micro-qualifications? And we're still continuing to do that till today. Rajen can explain further, or the team from SPC will let you know that we are currently going to endorse, work towards endorsement again in May for 2 big sport qualifications. So the concept of future-proofing, why were we spending so much of our time and resources in the development of the sport qualifications? One is we were wanting to make sure, we had to make sure that the qualifications were relevant and agile, meaning those who come and do the micro qualification or the full sport qualification, they were to be, they had to be employable for the future, in the sport industry. Number 2 was the notion on continuous learning to stay relevant. With these micro qualifications, those who will take it up, definitely, they will know that whatever they're learning from these micro qualifications is current, it's been researched, and is the best practice in the region. The developers who are in this room today, what they've come up with is current and it's unique for our region. So we felt that also to help our members specialize and have the competitive edge over the others when it comes to sport qualifications. The last one is cost effectiveness. This was discussed thoroughly in most of the sessions we had with our developers. We had to make sure that we were offering something affordable and time efficient, meaning the sport qualifications, they were short courses and it was affordable. It had to be affordable to our members. I know that a lot of us sitting in this room know the cost of doing a 4-year degree as compared to doing a micro qualification, which is short, it's time efficient, and it's affordable as well. In terms of regional goods, the 6 micro qualifications are part of what we call our regional goods in ONOC. It's what the micro qualifications showcase is the diverse and richness of sport in the region. When we developed the IAC team, we started with 53 members, 53. And then we started to break it down to teams who were to look after coaching, technical coaching, strength and conditioning, and sport management. In that 53-member team, Millie will know, initially when we started, there was a lot of experience and knowledge in those, with those 53 members that we felt we hadn't utilized or taken advantage of, so to speak. So what we did was we wanted to showcase the knowledge, the experience, and the skills of our 53 developers that started the journey. Okay, the 53, then we reduced the number to those that could commit to it full time and also answer to the need of the program. The micro qualification has helped us in terms of skills development for our IAC developers, and it's helped our trainers as well within the program. And whenever they've gone out to run courses for the National Olympic Committees, it's obvious that the micro qualification exercise, the development of the micro qualification exercise has helped the developers in running courses as well in the region. Next slide. Thank you. Very briefly, the 6 micro qualifications, it's been endorsed and approved by the Pacific Board of for Educational Quality. And the micro qualifications, you will see it on your program. The explanation is on the program. It's on sport management, technical coaching, and strength and conditioning. And the micro qualifications were developed and accredited for the benefit of our people in the Pacific. I've also put up on the right-hand side of the slide the pathway that OSEP had developed for our members in the NOCs. If you look at the pathway, there's 3 pathways that we've developed. That's for internally for our membership. There's 3 pathways, and there are 5 strands of courses currently on offer to our members in the NOC. Now, these 6 micro qualifications, they are linked to this pathway as well as the strands that you see on the right-hand side of the slide. Next slide, please, Ma. Thank you. The impact of the qualification. Now, some of you may be wondering what impact has the micro qualification made or is going to make in the NOC. This is a diagram that we always use in OSEP. We believe that any sport organization, for them to successfully develop their workforce or the people in the NOC, these are the 5 Ps that we usually refer to as the pillar of the successful sport organization. We believe that the qualification will have a huge impact on the people that we have in the region, on the partnerships that we've developed over the years, the policies, the places, as well as the planning. Our biggest hope is the impact of the qualifications on the people, that it would change perceptions, it would help people grow in their role, it would also help them perform their functional roles better in their positions in the NOC or even within their own organization. For today, we'd like OSEP and ONOC would like to acknowledge the people that have worked hard behind the scene for these 6 micro qualifications to be endorsed by the board. The IAC team of developers, some of whom are sitting in this room today. I can see Della Shaw, Laisia Sapomau, Sainimili Sokuru, Makarita Lenoa, and I believe some are online watching from their various homes. This is in recognition. We'd like to acknowledge and let the world know of the people that have worked hard on these micro qualifications and that have contributed their time and their knowledge to putting together the 6 micro qualifications that we are receiving today. So I had mentioned earlier there were 53 developers, and then we've trimmed it down to the areas of sport management, technical coaching, and S&C. The IAC team of developers also in the room today that I'd like to acknowledge and mention is the coordinator, the initial coordinator for the micro qualifications, Danny, Welcome, Danny, and thank you very much for the work that you've done for the micro qualifications in 2021 and 2022. Also, I'd like to mention at this point the ONOC Education Commission members who are also part of the IAC team of developers. Margarita Lenoir, President Fasanok, and also Regan Kama, who is the IAAF rep for OSFO. Margarita, we all know, is president of Fasanok, but she had put her hand up to be one of the developers of the micro qualification. And for that, Margarita, thank you. And I'd like to mention that in this room, that Margarita is not only like the president of ONOC, but she puts her hands up for this kind of work. And for that, we'd like to thank Margarita for her contribution and her leadership. Margarita is more like a mentor to us than a developer. Thank you. Saini Mili Sokuru. Mili, as you all know, she started this journey with Rajen. And I believe today, Mili is sitting in the room with Rajen. And I know the excitement with these two will be more than the rest of us, because finally they can see what the work that they've done over the years has come to fruition. And Saini Mili, who was a former OSEP coordinator and mentor and continues to be a mentor, thank you. And Meli Vavu, who took over from Saini Mili on this project. So we've had a few exchange of leaders in the program. So the journey's been a long one. From Mili to Meli, and then to me, and this is where we're getting the award. So we've had 3 leaders who've taken on the role and who were part of the micro qualifications development journey. Meli Vavu, also in the room, thank you for your leadership and commitment to see this through. Pinaka Meli. And finally, the SPC ECAP team, Rajen, Selaya, Penisa, Ikatonga, and Jonin. Thank you very much for making this, for hanging in there. I know at times they were, because ONOC's program was so busy, they've had to adjust their timelines and, put up with us. We were new to the micro qualification scene. They were the experienced ones, but their guidance, we managed to finish this off. And for those who I haven't mentioned, maybe tuning in online, thank you very much for the work and for helping us get this through. Future opportunities. Number 1, I've put down the micro qualifications to be delivered by interested training providers. I leave that to SPC, to Rajen and the team to explain further on that. What I do know is there is a process after being awarded the micro qualification, and that's an internal process that the Secretariat will have to explain and make sure that we go through. The number 2 is we also have another set of qualifications to endorse in May. These are 2 huge ones, and Rajen and Ikatonga will know, as well as Penisa, that we had come up with, we were supposed to develop 1 set of qualifications, but we ended up developing 2 full sets of qualifications. So those 2 sets of qualifications has been split into 2. One is the certificate in sport admin, and the other is the diploma in sport management. That's a level 5 diploma. And that's for approval in May this year. And finally, we're also developing another additional 3 micro qualifications this year for by our IAC members. The 3 to be developed this year, we are still in discussion on which strands we'd like to develop them in. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for your attention this afternoon. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and a big Vinaka Vakalevu to everyone for taking your time off to be part of the awards ceremony today, Vinaka.
Baraz given us an overview and I guess the context of the OSEP program. It is our flagship program. They keep us really busy here at ONOC, apart from other priorities, but we always refer to it as our flagship program. When we were formatting the program this afternoon, we thought it would be best to not have keynote addresses, but remarks from the partners. And we're delighted that we have Ms. Fuata from SPC. But the first remarks will be on behalf of ONOC by Dr. Robin Mitchell, our president. And he hates me doing this, but for the purpose of the broadcast, I have to, Doc, so forgive me. Dr. Mitchell's influence extends far beyond Oceania, as some of you already know. He's a member of the IOC Executive Board. He plays a crucial role in shaping global Olympic policies and initiatives. He also serves as the chair of the Olympic Solidarity Commission, which is responsible for dispersing funding to all continental associations, 5, and all national Olympic committees. He's also president of the Association of National Olympic Committees, or ANOC, a position he acted on since 2018, and he was voted into the role in 2022 at the ANOC General Assembly in Korea. In addition to his role at ANOC and the IOC, he also has other roles within the IOC, particularly commissions. So he's on the Olympic Services Channel. He was vice chair of the IOC Medical and Scientific Commission. He champions the advancement of athlete welfare and performance. His extensive involvement in IOC commissions includes ethics, nominations, women in sport, and even games coordination. And he underscores his commitment to upholding the highest standards of integrity and excellence in sports governance. With those words of introduction, I'll invite Dr. Mitchell forward to deliver the remarks on behalf of ONOC. Let's make him welcome, please.
Thanks very much, Inoke, and that takes care of the first page of my introduction. But just to add the welcome to all of you that have taken the time to be here with us today. Special welcome to Maria Foyaxia, and welcome back home. Maria is the Deputy Director General of the Pacific Community based in New Caledonia, but she thought she needed some rain and came back to Suva again. And all of the dignitaries have been recognized, so I'll just go straight into the program. Vinaka Varal for that extensive overview of the project. We represent 17 national Olympic committees, including Australia and New Zealand, and we also provide assistance to the 7 associate members. These are the members who don't qualify for Olympic status, as they're still a colony of France, a dependent of the US, or Tokelau, dependent of New Zealand. But today we're here basically to look at the outcomes we are celebrating today. Will be added to the historic timeline of ONOC's journey since our inception in 1981. We represent the green ring in the 5 rings of the Olympic flag. And we're one of 5 continental associations within the IOC. The OSEP program now in its 17th year is an innovative Pacific-led sport education program that has transformed and complemented capacity and capability development within the sports sector in the Pacific region. An independent evaluation in its 12th year stated that it stands without equal as the only community-based sport education program of its kind within the IOC. This is a significant achievement for the smallest continent. However, while OSEP has been widely recognized by the Olympic movement as a flagship community-based sport education program with relevance and potential for duplication in other regions of the world and in marginal settings of larger, more developed nations, OSEP has never been formally recognized in the Pacific Islands until today. Today, OSEP receives the first of a set of micro-qualifications from the Pacific community. Very significant for us. This endeavor emerged as part of findings of an OSEP independent external evaluation conducted in 2020. The corresponding recommendation was that OSEP be accredited to the Pacific Qualifications Framework under the Pacific Community's Educational Quality and Assessment Program, or ECAP. It's a long sentence. The joint program put out a call for sports industry experts to join us in the redesign of OSEP courses more than a year ago, seeing it fit that sports experts themselves engage in the course with curriculum and assessment professionals at SPC and other countries. Varaz mentioned all of the micro-qualifications and the process that has brought us to where we are today. So the development of micro-qualifications in Oceania will have a direct link to regional training products through skills development, workforce training, and entrepreneurship in the region. These micro-qualifications are short, focused credentials that provide specific skills and knowledge relevant to the sports industry. The development of these 6 micro-qualifications can support the growing talent in the sports sector of the region. Our ONOC vision is for an empowered, innovative sports ecosystem in Oceania for sustainable success. Our ONOC mission is to advance the sports ecosystem by strengthening NOC services, supporting sporting excellence, cultivating and managing strategic partnerships, and leading by example. This fresh and new direction of creating and distributing micro-qualifications is a significant achievement and milestone in OSEP's journey and evolution as a sports education program. Today's achievement is directly aligned to Priority 6, Capacity Building and Training, under the core function 1 in our strategic plan. It is also aligned to core function 2 of supporting sporting excellence in our ONOC strategic plan. It complements our ONOC game support program and the collaboration with our NOCs towards Paris 2024, Los Angeles 2028, and our home games advantage for Brisbane 2032. We're realizing that our work in the region, that the development and professionalizing of sports technical coaches, administrators, strengthening and conditioning coaches, managers, chefs de mission, among a host of other ecosystem roles, is now an industry in itself. OSEP was ONOC and the movement's response to this gap. And this project will ensure that graduates are recognized and those interested may advance and purpose higher educational qualifications. And true to its original design, those who only pursue it for accreditation at community level still have the option to pursue the micro courses at levels relevant to their desire and intent. So congratulations to both OSEP and the Pacific Community ECAP team for the first set of approved micro-qualifications ONOC is receiving today. And we look forward to our ongoing collaboration for the remaining initiatives in this joint project. Vinaka and Payaxia.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, for those remarks, and in particular the linkage to the ONOC strategic plan, including our core function 3 is cultivating strategic partnerships, one of which this relationship with SPC sits under. Ladies and gentlemen, in the program you will see now we will very shortly hear from Mrs. Maria Fuata of the Pacific Community. By way of introduction, Deputy Director General Fuata has extensive experience in leadership, corporate services, and financial management, which he brings to the role to drive effective and supportive operations management to support SPC and all of SPC's members in achieving regional development priorities. We are again delighted to have you here, ma'am, to join us and officiate. And I'll now invite you forward to deliver your remarks. Can we please make her welcome?
Nisambula Vinaka, Noe Mori, warm Pacific greetings. I'm actually not supposed to be here. I'm actually filling in for my Tongan counterpart, but I'm really delighted to be here. God has amazing ways of making things happen, and I was meant to be here. So thank you so much for having me. The President of the Oceania National Olympic Committee, ONOC, Dr. Robin Mitchell, the Secretary General, Mr. Ricardo Blas, members of the Secretariat, Acting Chief Sport Education Program Officer, Ms. Varani Sese Karisitiana, staff of the ONOC, staff of SPC, and in particular the ECAP division, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here on behalf of the Pacific community for the Accreditation Certificates presentation ceremony. This event concludes the process that began in December 2022 when the applications for accreditation of 6 micro-qualifications were received by ECAP. ONOC and ECAP's partnership and relationship in the MQ development and accreditation journey is founded on the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed by the two organizations in March 2021. It is exciting to note that since the signing of the MOU, 2 key deliverables have been achieved, and those are the accreditation of the 6 micro-qualifications and the commencement of the development of a qualification in sports. Despite the weird and unexplainable disappearance of the copies of the initial MOU, not from one, but from both ONOC and SPC, the activities progressed nonetheless, and we are gathering here this afternoon to witness and celebrate the accomplishment of milestones captured in that MOU. I guess it shows the Pacific Way is a trust-based and a relationship basis, so we'll forge on ahead. Quality assuring training courses and programs is a significant step towards the formal recognition of the knowledge and skills participants will have acquired and will be able to apply in the workplace. SPC's initiative on accreditation of short courses fills an important gap in the enhancement of the quality of education and training in the region. Being able to use these micro-qualifications to support and strengthen in the Pacific's sporting sector will bring long-term economic benefits and will help highlight the rich sporting culture of the Pacific. The accreditation process applied to the 6 micro-qualifications was rigorous and independent. We did not envision at the time the applications were received the challenge we were going to face in trying to engage qualified and experienced evaluators who were totally independent of the development, approval, and endorsement of the MQs. This impacted the process since we had to search not only within, but also outside of Fiji to find industry and quality assurance experts who were willing and available to be engaged as external evaluators. The Memorandum of Understanding between ONOC and SPC will expire at the end of 2027. However, we anticipate an extension or renewal of the MOU to ensure all short courses currently offered by ONOC in the region will be packaged into micro-qualifications, providing sportsmen and women, administrators, officers, managers, coaches, and others involved in sports in the region the opportunity to gain recognition for their skills and knowledge. The extension will also ensure ONOC as a regional body will receive the ongoing support it requires to continue to strengthen sports education in the Pacific, one that provides formal recognition of skills and knowledge through regional qualifications and micro-qualifications. According to a 2022 survey carried out by Coursera Inc., a US-based massive open online course provider founded by Stanford University in 2012, the following findings were derived. 90% of students around the world believe earning a professional certification or a micro-credential will help them stand out to employers and secure a job upon graduation. Students are 76% more likely to enroll in an academic program that offers industry micro-credentials as supplementation. 80% of employers believe professional certificates will strengthen a candidate's job application. Employers are 72% more likely to hire a candidate who has a professional certificate. And 95% of university leaders in the US believe that industry micro-credentials will be an essential part of higher education in the near future. Micro-credentials or micro-qualifications have revolutionized the way skills and achievement are recognized, benefiting individuals, organizations, and education institutions alike. Micro-credentials recognize learning outside traditional academic programs, leading to increased focus on skills-based learning and more flexible and personalized learning options. They also foster collaboration between education and industry, creating seamless transition from education to employment. The accreditation process applied by SPC to quality assure micro-qualifications, qualifications and training providers is similar to those applied by other national and international quality assurance agencies. While the specific standards and criteria may differ given the terms and definitions used, the purpose and principle and their application are comparable and can therefore render the outcomes acceptable and recognizable. Today's celebration is the culmination of a strong collaborative effort between ONOC and SPC's ECAP division. And the MOU will ensure the continued provision of ongoing support so that more short courses are packaged and accredited as micro-qualifications. The recognition of ECAP accredited micro-qualifications by the Fiji National Provident Fund is a significant development in the higher education space. This indicates that qualifications and micro-qualifications that have been accredited by ECAP, including the 6 ONOC micro-qualifications, are recognized for funding by FNPF. As I close, allow me to extend our heartfelt congratulations to ONOC. Firstly, for the foresight to elevate the status of sports education in the Pacific through the regional quality assurance of its courses and programs. Congratulations. And secondly, the accreditation of the 6 micro-qualifications today. This, I believe, is just the beginning as we continue with our partnership. We look forward to more collaborative success in the future. Thank you, Vinaka Vakalevu and Foyexia.
Thank you, Mrs. Fuata, for your remarks, for the insights you shared through that survey that you mentioned, also for the continued commitment through this arrangement or partnership with SPC. And you just took me back to the month we were looking for the MOUs, Master Rajen knows, but we are finally here, and this is one of the key outcomes. So thank you again for your remarks. I would also like to mention that before we took the micro-qualifications or the draft micro-qualifications to the Pacific Board for Educational Quality, we also brought together what we refer to as stakeholders, sports stakeholders from around the region. They included our National Olympic Committee leaders, national training providers, staff from the Ministry of Sports across the region, and also Ministry of Education, our ONOC partners, OSFO, and also the Pacific Games Council and a few others for their review and feedback before we then finally took it and presented it to SPC and this specific board for educational quality. So we'd like to also acknowledge them and their contributions. Some of them are sitting in the room, but we thought that'd be important to mention as well, that as part of the process before submission, we also took it to sports stakeholders in the region. So we acknowledge them, and this is also an achievement for those partners. On the program, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the actual presentation of the certificates, and we are going to actually present them individually. I know our staff member from ECAP will assist us with this. For those of you here with us at ONOC House, you have the description there in the handout you have in front of you. But for the purpose of the live stream viewers, and we also have to do this for the photo op this afternoon, I will introduce the qualification. Ikatonga will present it to Mrs. Fuata, then she'll present it to Dr. Mitchell. And I will have to request you to be upstanding when we get to it, after my description, just so that the angle is better for the photo op this afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, as you heard from the earlier speakers, the first micro qualification to be received, approved and received by ONOC through this partnership is titled Manage Sports Organizations Effectively. This micro qualification is for individuals who wish to further their understanding of a sport organization through assessing operation and management systems in a sporting context. Learners may or may not have had formal training in sports administration, but should be current or aspiring members or individuals of a sport governing body. The micro qualification provides training in operations and management systems, comparing leadership styles, communications, and organizational safeguarding that will enable the learner to responsibly examine and improve operation and management systems in their sport organization. That's micro qualification 1, Managed Sports Organization Effectively. Thank you very much. I have you to your seats again. And we'll repeat this another 5 times, unfortunately. Micro qualification 2 is titled Demonstrate Sports Coaching Systems in Accordance with Athlete Development Pathways. The micro qualification is for coaches who intend to progress through the coach development pathways that bridges into elite performance levels. Participants are taken through key aspects of coaching where they will be able to plan, implement, monitor, review, and adapt. This micro qualification will meet the sports industry's need by equipping participants, being coaches, with skills to systematically develop athletes and holistically, as an individual or within a team, implement annual plans, ensure cultural and psychological well-being through spiritual development and psychological theories, and build inclusive and safe training practices and procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, micro qualification 2, demonstrate sports coaching systems in accordance with athlete development pathways. Thank you. Micro qualification 3, titled Enhance Athlete Performance Through Strength and Conditioning Coaching. Currently, there are limited opportunities provided to enable learners to further their strength and conditioning skills in the Oceania region. This micro qualification is essentially a pathway with creative and innovative opportunities to enable learners to enhance their knowledge in the sports industry in Oceania. Participants will gain a comprehensive understanding of the physical conditioning and development strategies required to prepare individual athletes or teams for successful performance in an inclusive environment. They will also be competent in coaching, undertaking research, planning, profiling, and managing athletes' training loads that minimizes risks of injuries and maximizes performance. Ladies and gentlemen, micro qualification number 3. Micro qualification number 4, titled Implement a Periodized Nutrition Plan for Optimal Athletic Performance. This micro qualification is designed for learners with some experience in strength and conditioning and are interested in applying evidence-based nutrition strategies for optimal sport performance of an athlete. In this micro qualification, learners will gain an understanding of food and nutritional requirements to profile an athlete's nutritional goals and how to develop a periodized nutrition plan for optimal performance of an athlete in a safe and inclusive environment. Optimal performance is about achieving an ideal level of readiness for an athlete to perform at their very best. Ladies and gentlemen, micro qualification number 4. Micro qualification number 5, titled Enhance Governance Practices in a Sport Organization. This micro qualification is for individuals who wish to enhance their understanding of governance in a sporting context and may or may not have had formal training in sports management. These individuals could either be current or aspiring members or individuals of a sport governing body. The micro qualification provides the necessary knowledge and skills training that will enable the learner to responsibly contribute in the role to ensure the organization complies with all legal and constitutional requirements, sets organization's directions and priorities, sets high-level policy and management performance expectations, oversees management of risks, undertakes research, monitors and evaluates organizational performance to exercise accountability to the membership of the organization. This micro-qualification is part of a program of learning to meet the current need in human resource training and development to ensure that sports organizations in Oceania are well governed. Ladies and gentlemen, micro-qualification number 5. And finally, micro-qualification number 6, titled Provide Fundamental Financial Services in a Sport Organization. This micro-qualification is targeted towards individuals who are interested in working or are currently involved in the financial operations in the sports industry and would like to understand the fundamental financial requirements of a sport organization. The micro-qualification will provide these individuals with a practical framework of the fiduciary responsibilities of their role and the opportunity to gain confidence in their skills in budgeting, handling of the accounts payable and receivable functions, and the completion of the organization's period-end processes. Finance in sports is an essential component in ensuring the stability of a sport organization. There are funding requirements and activities within a sport organization as such, but not limited to athlete or team equipment and uniforms, training and competition, travel, education, and organizational meetings. Sports organizations need to ensure proper recording and retention of financial records and transactions to deliver transparency, accountability, integrity, and good governance. Ladies and gentlemen, the final micro-qualification: provide fundamental financial services in a sport organization. And seeing that it's the last of the micro-qualifications, can we give them a stronger round of applause, please? And may I again, in addition to what Divara mentioned this afternoon, acknowledge the developers, Sainimili Saukuru, Danny Threppleton, Maimbole Ndingitaki, Terani Uluina Kawandra, Choa Lesi Tuiloma, Laisiasa Puamau, Laisiasa Tho Rerenga, Della Elder Shaw, Eroni Sotutu, and Saya Simbose. Can we please acknowledge the developers again? To bring things to a close, and I guess in order of our themes this afternoon, we felt it was important to also bring in one of the trainers to provide a response or reflection on what we've achieved. You heard her name mentioned earlier today by a few of the speakers, but Sainimili, in moving into other personal endeavors, is a Kingdom personal coach. And she was very recently awarded, through her contribution to ONOC, one of the ONOC Merit Awards, in fact in 2022 at our General Assembly in Nandi, Fiji. Sainimili has been instrumental in the development of the community-based OSEP program, which she worked with from 2007 to 2021, about 14 years, leaving a legacy of qualified sport trainers, educators, and administrators. She worked from the ground up and contributed to creating and sustaining a community-based program that is recognized as the flagship in the Olympic movement. And we're very delighted that she agreed to come and attend this afternoon and provide that reflection on behalf of the trainers. And if I can also mention, she handed the baton to Meli Vavu, as you would have heard earlier. Meli moved from his core function as head of administration services. He's since moved back to that role. And then Bara has taken on the baton. And as you see, we acknowledge all the work that each of these leaders brought to the program, and particularly where we are now with the presentation of the 6 micro qualifications. So last but not the least, we'll hear from Senimili this afternoon. Can we please make her welcome?
Okay, just want to make sure this laptop doesn't fall. Thank you, Inoke, for that introduction and those kind words. So the task I have today is to give a reflection, give my reflections, and also a response. In my role as one of the trainers in what we call OSEP mentors. So that's the perspective that I'll be presenting today. So I just want to start with something like to just get us to reflect back. For most of us in the room, growing up in the islands, you know, we love the outdoors. I remember, you know, playing pretend hibiscus queens, sitting on the guava tree, you know, branch, imagining that it's a float and it's going in a street procession through the streets of Suva. To go into the nearby river to swim, you know, without mom knowing. And to the fun part of playing jackstones, pani, rounders, and fairy steps. You know, those early memories of life was so enjoyable and unforgettable. Then we got introduced to more serious activities which we learned as sports in primary and high school. And for me and many other islanders, we played sport because we simply loved it. A time to meet with friends and just to have a good laugh and lose a sweat. Do you remember those days? For some of us, it's decades back. Then there were those athletes that came to the forefront and excelled in the different sports on offer from junior to youth, senior levels, representing their country and gaining sports and Olympic scholarships. And most recently, getting paid to play professional sports. Sport in the Pacific has come a long way. Peter Macy knows that. And there was, and still there is no doubt that we have such gifted athletes amongst our midst, from the small islands of Cook Islands, Palau, Nauru, to the largest nations in Vanuatu, Fiji, and PNG by population size. They are just waiting to be discovered, developed, and refined. And for most, we know there are those that are excelling internationally. What I wanted to just bring us to focus on is those who have the mammoth task to do this discovery, developing, and refining are the entourage, which is what is called in the Olympic movement. So these, as you can see there on the slide, are the coaches. They are the team managers. They're the strength and conditioning experts. And on a global term, the sport medicine and sport science specialists. And so OSEP and other partners, they've joined forces to provide Olympic education courses so that we can upskill these specialists and professionals right here in the Pacific. And so there has been a core team in the program that have been the game changers in the growth of accreditation of the sport entourage. We know them as OSEP trainers. You can see that in the chart there. So these trainers, they range from presenters, assessors, educators, master educators, regional master educators to mentors. While it sounds like a breeze, it has taken, as Dr. Mitchell has said, 4 decades. Yes, 40 plus years to get to this stage today. It's a celebration of the ability to see further because we have stood on shoulders of giants. So today there are 200 licensed or relicensed OSEP trainers for the current 8 years licensing period, and of whom I am very honored to represent and speak on behalf of. I've been tasked to reflect and respond, so I'm going to share 3 key reflection lessons and provide 2 responses that ONOC, the program, to consider as we look into the future. So my first 3 key reflections. The first one is, what I've learned is acquiring and keeping good people is an essential element of growth. It has been very clear for the last many years until today that no one can do it alone. And for the program to be successful, it had to establish a team. And one must find a way to get the vision seen, implemented, and contributed by others. And what I loved about it is Dr. Mitchell and his ONOC Development Commission back in the early 80s saw the big picture for our future generation. And they cast that vision, brought in partners, and with Rick Blass leading the Pacific Voyage, he had the OSEP staff and initially trained presenters and assessors to begin moving across the region. Then the causes started to grow, the demand increased, it required attracting, developing, and partnering other leaders. And the result, we have in Oceania and Pacific Islands trainers, consultants who became the hands and legs to make this mental picture a reality. My second reflection is, it's about progress, not perfection. One of my mentors, John Maxwell, he said, everything worthwhile is uphill. From the beginning, it was tough and difficult. It required shifting from the comfort zone of doing what I already know to the challenge zone, attempting to do what I haven't done before. Initially, I would look for the best way to get started, and I realized that was gonna take forever. In fact, like probably 5 years went through the program, I was like reading and trying to come up with a perfect plan. Before long, the years passed. And so it required tapping into people that knew more, had different ideas and perspectives, which meant I had to swallow my pride. The responsibility shifted from being part of the hands and legs in the initial stage to coaching and mentoring a dream team of leaders who, in our case, were the OSEP trainers. My third reflection is the power of providing growth opportunities. I came across this story. It's about a tourist who paused for a rest in a small town in the mountains. He went over to an old man sitting on a bench in front of the only store in town and inquired, "Friend, can you tell me something this town is noted for?" "Well," replied the old man, "I don't rightly know, except that it's the starting point to the world. You can start here and go anywhere you want." So most people do not view their current location as the starting point to wherever they want to go in the world. And so for ONOC to materialize this vision, the team had to actively search high and low for potential individuals across the vast ocean with this vision that ONOC will make a statement worldwide. And it has. We studied mostly the Australian system and realized it had such a high standard, and it explained why the athletes excelled globally. But in the islands, in our small islands, I think now it's about 7 million population, sport education was something that only Oceania or international sport federations did. They were the experts. They were the technicians. In the early days, they would come into the islands at irregular intervals. Why? High cost of travel, and they probably had their own priorities. So someone trained in coaching officiating would hold that certification for a good number of years, as long as 20 years, you would have coaches around that would say that I've been trained level 1 20 years ago. So the OSEP team began to look up, down, round, around to find who we could start with. And why? Because we believed that Pacific Islanders had what it takes to compete at the world stage. Those with teacher background involved in sport, former athletes that pursued formal certification in other professions, science, management graduates, those that had years of sport experience. We even joined forces with others in the sport industry, Oceania federations, training institutes. That began the journey of laying the foundation for OSEP trainers. As we heard today, it's been almost 18, 20 years when the program was formally established with the leadership of Robin Mitchell. Pacific Sport had to start with what it had to build up the team of trainers. I'd like to emphasize that we had to start with what we had. We had to channel the resources to build up our Pacific Islanders. It was tough, but I'm proud to say that it was possible. So my second part is to provide responses for consideration by ONOC and SPC as our partner. So the first response is ONOC has created a global brand with OSEP. This qualification will multiply the recognition of our OSEP trainers, irrespective of their base in Oceania. It's an opportunity to increase the workforce in what I believe is a growing industry in the Pacific, the sport industry. We are here to stay. We can solve the high unemployment in our youth. We have outstanding athletes. This call is to recognize our Pacific-born entourage and OSEP and IF trainers as specialists. We have accountants, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have educators. We cannot go into their sector and dictate what to do. They are specialists, they're professionals, and they are recognized for their expertise and formal qualifications and experience. They have even formed professional bodies who set standards and compliance. So this call today is to recognize our Pacific-based specialists with the rewards they deserve in remuneration and opportunities for growth, development, and to be credited for what they have and what they're capable of. It's a call to recognize sport as a contributor to national development. We believe it, but it's time to take the vision out to other sectors of our nations. And if you may, my second response, we have a diversity of OSEP trainers across the region. Diversity in experience, diversity in qualifications, diversity in the different challenges that they face. Is there an opportunity to have a transition period for them to upgrade their trainer certification and meet the requirements of the regional standards for trainers, so that there is a smooth transition for those ready to become regional trainers for the new curriculum that will be developed for coaches, board members, managers, and S&C coaches? With the micro-qualifications awarded, will there be training organized for training providers to unpack the micro-qualifications? This is a call to give priority to Pacific Islanders as the first option. OSEP has proven that our people, the Pacific people, have the desire, the capacity to produce quality when given the opportunity. So I'd like to leave all of us here today with the words of my favorite mentor, John C. Maxwell, who said, "Completing one another is more important than competing with one another." Thank you.
agree with me that was the perfect way to wrap up our formalities this afternoon. I trust you've enjoyed the program and you've been inspired but also challenged. That, as I mentioned, completes the formalities. I would just like again, on behalf of our ONOC leadership, acknowledge the partnership of the Pacific community and the presence of Mrs. Maria Fuata, our stakeholder, our partner, our member here on ground from FASANOC, Mr. Lakan from the Pacific Games Council, Mr. Maisie, staff of the ECAP program, developers of the OSEP micro qualifications, our trainers, our stakeholders, see representatives from tertiary institutions, you, our guests, members of the media, and of course those joining us through the live stream this afternoon. Thank you again very much for your presence. I trust that you've been inspired and challenged, as I mentioned earlier. And please don't run away too quickly. Join us for afternoon tea. And I know that members of the media, if you wish, you can speak to Shivnil for photo ops or for one-on-ones. That completes the program this afternoon. Again, thank you for those who are here with us at ONOC House. And thank you as well to our viewers joining us through our YouTube live stream broadcast. Thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of the evening, or the afternoon. And for those here, please don't run away too quickly. Come and join us for afternoon tea. Vinaka Vakalevu, and to our viewers, Nisamode.